Hey there, Sutonia here. Just wanted to make a really quick video about a 1.6 billion ISK Garmur kill that I got with my 4-month Kestrel. Whenever you kill a ship and pod which is worth 150 times the value of your ship, it's always pretty hilarious, and there are a lot of mistakes or misplays which were made by the Garmur pilot, as well as with his fitting, which could have easily made the difference between me killing him or not, and it was actually pretty close, as you'll see right now. So to give you a little bit of context before how the fight happened, I was just trolling in local a bit around this constellation in period basis, and just hanging around gates and typing terrible smack talk in local, which is a good way to get a lot of fights. I noticed on directional scanner that there's a Garmur coming in, so I load Modular Rage, which will be the best ammo type versus most Garmurs. Sometimes they do have EM resistance tricks, as this Garmur did have, but typically it's still going to be their lowest resistance. Or thermal will be quite close sometimes if EM is resisted but thermal isn't. But Modular Rage is the best type here. And what I'm doing is I hold my cloak and I wait for him to decloak first, and then I immediately overheat my whole mid-rack and just approach him. Normally when you jump into kiters and they're expecting you to run, because I'm in a Kestrel and he's in a Garmur, and I'm my character's actually 6 months old, but it's only been training for 4 months, and it's been in Brave for 1 week, so I look like a complete noob, and he probably thinks I'm going to run. So what he does here, first of all, is when he decloaks, he approaches the gate straight away, and what that because he expects me to run so he can just cover the gate and get a point on me immediately. So that enables me to get on top of him almost right away. And despite him having high grade crystals without the Omega and the Gisty A-type shield booster, you can see that my Kestrel still does enough DPS to go through his shields, and then he's pretty slow with locking his pod. I actually lock him as he tries to warp, as you see here, and goodbye 1.3 billion ISK pod. It was still pretty close though. I think his last volley probably would have killed me, or it would have left me in very low structure. So what were the mistakes that the Garmur pilot made? The first was getting caught immediately on the gate. Be careful and don't underestimate brawling frigates, even if you're a younger pilot and in a much more inexpensive ship than you. Even though he only had a Tech 2 point with heat, he should still be able to cover 40 km range in his Garmur, so he didn't have to really go back to the gate, risking me getting a good decloak scram web on him. This is a habit many players have, and it's a great way of catching kiting ships. I've caught many ships like Vagabonds, Healers, Ishtars and Garmurs like this. And the second mistake he made is that he had Caldari Navy Nova missiles loaded, which are explosive missiles. My Kestrel fit has a medium shield extender, damage control, and 3 core defense field extenders for my tank. My resistance against explosive is much higher than my EM resistance, and he probably would have killed me if he had loaded the modular missiles instead. Even if I had 2 EM resistance rigs fitted, which is very niche, I still would have taken more damage from EM missiles than explosive. And against the Kestrel, you always want to load EM missiles if you can, because it's most typically shield tanked. There also are a lot of optimizations that he could have made on his ship. The core defense field extender rig seems a bit out of place on an active tank Garmur. If you're going to invest 300 million ISK in dead space shield boosters and Cosmos Microwarpdrives, and use high grade implants, you should probably use a Tech 2 resistance rig, which costs 4 million ISK in jitter. The lack of faction point is also pretty questionable, as this would have saved him CPU, allowing him to use the Crystal Omega. And if nothing else, even if you don't put anything else there, the money that you would spend on the faction point would be almost identical to the money he spent on the 5% CPU implant. Unless he's using those implants for another purpose, like he's a PvE player and he just came to fight me. I don't know. But normally when you think about pimp fitting a Garmur, you would normally look towards pimping up the point and probably the ballistic control systems before you would look at beefing up the tank. And I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry for the lack of content on this channel recently, but there should be a lot more videos to come soon. Thanks for watching.